Welcome back to Out of Place, the podcast that's like your drunk uncle if he had a therapist, a boundary, and a podcast mic. Loud, messy, and somehow still the most emotional, evolved person in the room. Today's episode is sponsored by Emotional Boundaries, the mute button, and the phrase, "I'm not coming home for the holidays, Mom. I'm choosing joy, not trauma." So grab your weighted blanket, pour something warm or strong, and let's get into the episode that might just save your sanity this season. Let's roll.
Place, we ain't caring about your feelings here. Anytime, any place, you can feel it here. Steven Daniel out of space, so we clear the air. Any topic and it's safe, so just be prepared. Don't assume, keep it straight, we might keep it fair. Fuck the news, fuck a page, we gon' keep it real. If you tune in, then you sick for real. Fuck a Bluetooth, we took the red pill. Every image in the video, talk about it. Different views on the subject, we might talk about it. At the end of the day, we just talking, homie. Only me in the room, but it's like a party. Introducing Steven Daniel, author, artist, all around great fucking guy.
Holidays are stress with gravy. It's like emotional Hunger Games, but with pie. You walk in hoping for warmth and leave wondering if therapy takes walk-ins. The turkey's dry, the tension's moist, and someone always brings up politics right between the mashed potatoes and your will to live. So let's talk about it. The radical, rebellious, total legal act of not going home for the holidays. And guess what? I'm bringing back that trigger jingle from back in the old Out of Place days. Time to get touchy.
Time to get touchy. Get ready to be triggered. Sensitive topics. Oh, look, they're about to cry. All consent, so we'll see. Nobody likes a snowflake. What is Steven's problem today?
Let's start with the myth that the holidays are sacred, and if you don't show up to the holiday family event with a casserole and a fake smile, you're a disgrace. Who made this rule? Hallmark? Mariah Carey? The ghost of Norman Rockwell? Listen, if your family gatherings feel like a live-action episode of Survivor, you're allowed to tap out. For this episode, we are decluttering your holidays, guilt trips, boomer sermons, and my house, my rules energy. We are throwing all of that shit straight into the donation bin. We're roasting outdated logic, stress testing boundaries, and handing out permission slips that say you don't have to go. You're allowed to decide that your piece is too expensive to barter for a 5-day performance. I'm a 39-year-old husband and dad with a priority that chooses to have a calm home, not winning Best Actor in a family drama. You know that feeling when you're invited but not welcomed? The polite smiles, the we had to vibe. That's where you learn the difference between presence and belonging. Here's the part I never say out loud at the table. Every holiday from the time I was in the East Coast before the military moved us to the West Coast in 2015, and when we came back 3 years ago, the holiday used to start with a knot in my stomach and a calendar full of other people's expectations. You have to come. It's tradition. We always do it this way. I said yes. And for many of you, you've done this for years. You said yes until your yes didn't sound like you anymore. When you get married, people tell you that it's about blending families, like it's a smoothie. But it's not a smoothie. It's multiple full kitchens pushed into one. And nobody wants to give up their stove. My wife's story is stitched with loss. Her mom gone to cancer when she was young. Her family scattered across oceans. South Florida, where it's just her dad and his wife and the Weiss family. To California, where it's just her brother. To South Africa, everybody else. Her father, steady as a lighthouse, never demanding which night is his. I love hanging out with that man. Why? Zero drama. And then there's my side. 9 hours of interstate, a routine of split days and negotiated evenings. All the old rules walking around like they pay the mortgage. I used to make it work. We drive to Orlando first because halfway feels like hope. eat at the places we don't have in South Carolina, pretend we're on vacation, try to start the visit with something that tastes like joy, spend the night in a comfy resort or hotel close to Disney, then the next day, do some yummy breakfast like at one of my favorites in Disney Springs, like the Chef's Homecoming. I love that place for breakfast. Afterwards, we do that last 3 hours with the brittle nerves and that unspoken question hovering over the dashboard. Who are we going to be when we get there? Let me tell you what I learned. Slowly, and then all at once. Some family have a public voice and a private one. The public story. Everybody loves your mother. Strangers say that she's a sunshine. Co-workers call her a saint. Your friends and cousins think that she is the best kind-hearted person in the world and could do no harm. In the private story, the house tilts on mood and memory, and love speaks a different dialect. One that sounds like rules and sharp edges and the kind of silence that eats after midnight. I grew up in that split screen. I learned to mow lawn straight as a military haircuts, line soda cans like soldiers facing the same direction, polish my worth into chores and compliance, while my siblings didn't have to do any of that. And I'm not lying about the soda thing. I literally got grounded and yelled at, and if I talked back, beaten if I didn't face the fucking soda cans the same direction. My younger siblings do not remember any of that. Apparently, it's all in my head. But that's what happens when you have such an age gap. I also learned that if the buttons they push explode, the mess is your fault. Because didn't you see them coming? Didn't you hand them over? No. That's not how I think anymore. I realized that they only know which buttons to push because they're the ones that created the buttons. Forgiveness came to me as an adult, not like a parade, but like a quiet, stubborn practice. I forgave, then I forgave again when the memory rewound itself at 2 a.m. I let it go because I needed the room to breathe. But forgiveness isn't amnesia. It doesn't erase the tripwires built into the hallway or the way a simple moment can be rescripted into a crime. Like the time we wanted to share our second child the sweet way. Little shirt ironed with Big Brother letters. My father-in-law reading it out loud at famous days. Eyes shining, my wife's tears bright as glass. He took photos during his visit. He printed those photos because joy makes you generous. He brought those printed photos to my family because they live close to each other down in South Florida. And a celebration turned into an indictment. Why didn't you tell us first? How dare you let someone else hold your happiness? We made the shirt for their visit. We wanted to surprise them. But somehow, I was on trial for a love that didn't file the right paperwork. My father-in-law's visit was a surprise. Unexpected. So, he got to see it first. A few days later, they would have seen it. After all that, my father-in-law called me apologizing for the drama, almost on the verge of tears. That was the day something quiet inside me broke. But with all that, I kept saying to myself, maybe next time it won't hurt. Maybe that was just a one-off thing. Maybe the bullshit will stop. Maybe it was just all in my head. Maybe I'm overthinking it, but it kept hurting. Quietly, consistently, like background noise I couldn't turn off. There are so many things I won't unpack in this episode. Emotional bruises. Childhood chaos, the kind of damage that doesn't show up in photos but lives in your nervous system. But as more episodes roll out, you're going to hear it all. I'm not saying it all, not for the drama, not for the revenge, but for healing. And maybe to help someone else feel less alone in their mess. Maybe they could relate. I stopped going to therapy not because it didn't help, but because I found something that worked better for me. Prayer, reflection, and this podcast. This mic is my confessional booth, my journal, my megaphone. I used to keep it quiet. I tried being respectful. I tried being distant. But somehow even silence pissed them off. So I warned my mother, I'm airing it all out, not to hurt her, not to shame her, but to help the ones who lived through something similar and never got to say it out loud. That's why I'm here, out of placers. Because maybe I can be the light for someone still stuck in the fog. Maybe I can show our badass listeners how I crawled through it. Let's start with my stepfather. My stepfather and I have our own long road, and like I said, I'm not going to rewrite it all here, except to say he was the hardest on me. But I have learned skills that I am still grateful for. But I also have scars I still trace with my fingers. Years later, working for him in Georgia, he saw my work ethics, got to know me as a young adult, and he finally saw me the way I wanted to be seen. And the respect grew like grass through a crack, and that mattered. It still does. He and I are great now. I think he's the most hardworking person I've ever seen. He's just too busy to talk to us. But let's move on to my mother. She was 15 when she carried me, and there are stories she can tell that would split you in half. I know the history that made her armor. I know the tenderness she gives the world and the storm that comes home with her. She says the other day after we had a situation, how many times do I have to say sorry? And the truest answer is this: as often as the wound reopens, as often as new cuts arrive dressed like old ones. I have forgiven her. I love her. Both of those sentences are true. And so is this one. I deserve peace. Last year when December walked in, my body started bracing like it always does. I could feel the old choreography gearing up. Pack the car, pack the kids, pack the boundaries you'll push aside because the script demands it. I looked at my wife and I asked the question out loud, do we have to go? She said gently, no. So we didn't. We invited her father instead. He came with his wife, and my brother-in-law flew in from California and surprised us in the hotel lobby. It was great. Christmas Eve, we made pannenkoek. That's just South African crepes. We had cinnamon sugar ones in one container. We had ones filled with mincemeat and onions. For the Americans, that's ground beef. And one container filled with cheese. We had a mess of it. We built a new tradition on our own kitchen counters. It tasted like relief. It tasted like the thing I thought holidays were supposed to be before I learned they can also be chores. Did I miss my family? Yes. I missed what I wanted us to be. I missed the VHS version of childhood where the tables were long and the music was loud and everyone stayed alive. I missed the lie that if I drive far enough, I can rewind time. But here is what was true that week. The house was drama-free. There was no ammunition for somebody to twist my words into something that wasn't true. No one weaponized a phone call. No one took our happy thing and turned it into evidence. We saved money. We would have burned on gas, hotels, and guilt. We bought the extra presents with the money we saved and wrapped them without thinking about schedules that never included us until we volunteered ourselves. And something else is true, too, that I realized last year. Right now, in the 3 years of living here, my side hasn't come to see us. My wife's friends have multiple times. My wife's father has multiple times. Her brother has multiple times. My father and his wife multiple times. But from the people who kept saying when I was on the other side of the United States, if you were here, we would visit all the time. We have to see you. But the driveway stays empty. The FaceTimes don't ring. Love doesn't keep appointments and never keeps. So this year, we're doing it again. Whoever wants to come is welcome. My father plans to be here. My father-in-law too. The door is open, but they won't come. Guarantee it. I will not walk back through the doors that undo me. I will not strap my children into a car to perform a version of family that leaves us shaking in the guest room. I won't wear the guilt that was tailored to fit a younger me. I'm going to let them be them. Just like Mel Robbins says, let them. She also talks about let me. I still forgive. I still hope. I still want the miracle where we sit at one table and no one bleeds for it. Maybe that day will come. Maybe it won't. In the meantime, I will feed my children yummy holiday food and peace. I will light a candle for the family I had and another for the one I'm building. Flame by quiet flame. And when guilt walks in, I will meet it at the door and tell it the truth. I chose my home. I chose my health. I chose my wife, my kids, my breath. I chose to love them from over here. So I'll say it again while we pretend to enjoy fruitcake. You do not have to go home for the holidays. Not if home feels like the set of National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, minus the laughs and with twice the emotional damage. Not if the family dinner turns into Home Alone, but you're Kevin and everyone else is the Wet Bandits. Not if the vibe is the Grinch, but you're the one being dragged down from your mountain of peace to fake smile through roast beast. And definitely not if grandma's dog gets more respect than your boundaries. We've been sold a postcard where everyone smiles, passes the gravy, and doesn't bring up your life choices. In reality, you Venmo your airline a kidney, white-knuckle it through turbulence, and land just in time to be told you've changed. Translation, you grew boundaries and stopped auditioning for the role of family doormat. Some of us are parenting our kids while still parenting our parents. We're breaking cycles they won't admit exist. And that mythical village turned out to be 3 group chats, 1 passive-aggressive social media comment, and I actually had a close friend where their boomer parent couldn't visit because the dogs can't be alone more than an hour. My friend said it was interesting because those same dogs were solo 8 hours a day when she was 6 and eating SpaghettiOs by lamplight. And now hurt because Fluffy's calendar is packed. Somewhere we were taught that taking care of ourselves is selfish. No, it's adulting with the seatbelt. Nobody apologized for how they treated you. They blamed you for how you reacted. That's what always got me in trouble. They did something, even in my marriage. Person does something, triggers me. Instead of being calm about it and walking away, my reaction is now the problem, now the focus. But if the thought of going home feels like prepping for a courtroom, don't go. If the reunion looks less like welcome and more like a witness stand, don't go. Sometimes you're invited and still not wanted. You can feel the difference in your bones. Out of placers, repeat after me. I will no longer make myself uncomfortable so everyone else can feel comfortable in my discomfort. Your mom and dad don't live with you. They don't run your marriage. The fastest way to ruin one? Outsource decisions to people like them. Take extended family opinions with a grain of salt and a noise-canceling headset. You married each other, not the comment section. But the Bible says, honor your parents. You know what it also says? Parents don't provoke your kids. They're both in God's word. People love to weaponize scripture like it's a Yelp review for your soul, but nowhere in the Bible does it say, thou shalt endure passive-aggressive comments from thy mother-in-law. Jesus literally said, who is my mother? Who are my brothers? And then hung out with his friends. Islam, Judaism, Buddhism, they all preach kindness, respect, and peace, not show up and suffer. So if someone tells you skipping Christmas dinner is a sin, tell them to read the footnotes. Honor does not equal unlimited access. Sometimes the only way to honor without hating is distance. Grandparenting is a privilege, not a punch card. Want a bond? Build one with the parents first. FaceTime. Show up. Stop treating call me when you get a second like a personality. Because when you do actually talk to them, when do you actually talk to them actually? When you call first? They need something? It's your birthday or a major holiday? Or they want to know when you're coming to them. Titles are earned, not inherited. If you don't show up for kids, don't be shocked when your kids don't show up for you. Oh, you changed. Correct. I grew, and my therapist gave me a sticker for it. You're ungrateful. I did everything for you. For what? Receiving the legally required food shelter package? Did you read the terms and conditions of creating a child? We didn't ask to be summoned like NPCs. Good parents give without invoices. Our 3 boys will never owe us anything. That's the cycle breaking. Wait until the kids are like you. You know what? I did fucking have kids that are just like me. And you know what I found out that hurts me a little bit? That loving me was fucking easy. Who knew? And to all their dads out there that's struggling with this, here's your mission. Break the curses. Your grandpa said to your dad that he was stupid. Your dad said what you do is not enough. Now is your time to say to your child, I'm proud of you. I love you. You do it loudly, repeatedly, over and over. You will see the difference. Dear boomers and Gen X who are parents, estrangement isn't our hobby. We didn't wake up one day and say, you know what sounds fun? Emotional exile. No, estrangement is our smoke alarm. If we backed away, something was burning. And spoiler alert, it wasn't incense. The fix isn't grow up and stop blaming us. Cue try. The fix is radical responsibility. Emotional blueprints, that's your fucking job. If you drafted ours with fear, shame, or control, we can renovate, but you've got to admit you were the architect. Own the blueprint. Don't gaslight the foundation. And your whole blood is thicker than water mantra? Please. Blood is thicker than gravy, and I'm still not eating that shit. Blood makes you related. Love, loyalty, and safe behavior make you family. If you want unconditional love, get a fucking dog. If you want a relationship with your adult kids, try unconditional accountability. Now what about the classic cult grenade? It's cruel to keep the kids away. Listen, kids can't miss people they don't fucking know. You want access? Build a bridge. Most of us will meet those parents halfway with snacks. But don't expect us to cross a minefield just because you bought admission to Disney World. Here in this house, we didn't want distance. We wanted safety. We didn't want silence. We wanted peace. We didn't want to be strangers. We just didn't want to keep bleeding for people who never noticed we were cut. Before we wrap it up, here's the $1 million question that I was asked before recording. How much disrespect should you take before going no contact? Well, you lovely listener, that's like asking how much poison you should sip before it counts. 0 is the answer. Respect isn't a luxury. It's the bare minimum. Bare minimum. I asked you the other day to share your stories about dreading family time, and y'all delivered. One listener said, my mom guilt-tripped me for not coming, then posted a passive-aggressive meme about loyalty. I posted a meme back that said, boundaries are sexy. I love it. Now, it's not the right thing to do. One thing that I learned is when you go on social media, there's going to be a lot of things that are going to trigger you. People are going to say the stupidest shit, and you're going to want to feel the urge to argue back or to join in the fight. Trust me, it's not worth it. Not worth it at all. All you have to do is just close that post, unsee it, hide the post, block the post, because it's not worth it. I promise you. But that is funny. Another said, I skipped Thanksgiving and spent it watching The Sopranos. It was the most peaceful holiday I've had in years. Bravo. I love it. Everybody has their own version of peace. And if it's a Sopranos, if it's a book, if it's gaming, whatever it is, you do you, because it's important to build your peace. Listeners, keep sending me your stories. I might read them in the next episode. All you have to do is go on YouTube, subscribe, and you'll see a community post of mine pop up asking the question and just answer it. I'm looking at it. Now, sometimes some of these questions come from people that want to remain hidden. They come from people that were close to me and they DM me. So for this one, actually, nobody responded in public, but I did get DMs answering it. Not a bunch, just the few that I just said. But I hope to read more. Final thoughts before we close. Never let the family you come from damage the family that comes from you. Your home isn't a stage for reenacting old trauma. It's a sanctuary. If keeping the peace means losing yours, congratulations, you're starring in a one-person tragedy called Holiday Dinner. Cancel the show. So here's the move. Stop begging for chairs at tables that never had space for you. Build your own. Teach your kids that love isn't earned through exhaustion, that silence isn't safety, and that family is a verb, informal usage, of course, but family is not a title. This year, send one RSVP. Regrets. I'll be celebrating somewhere safe. and mean it. Because the best tradition worth starting is the one where your nervous system gets to come home to dinner too. I've done the miles. I smiled until my jaw locked. I've come home needing a nap from nothing but small talk. And the older I get, the more I see my parents as people. Beautiful, flawed, and unhealed in places. My empathy went up for them the older I got. But my appetite for chaos, my appetite for drama, down to zero. Some of you, like I said, are parenting your kids while you're still parenting your parents. And like I also said, the village we were promised is now a fucking ghost town, right? Some of you had that grandma who watched you while your parents got to go out. But then your parents refused to do the same for you. I can't argue that's my case because we're military. So I can't assume that if I was down there close to them, they wouldn't watch. I can't assume that. But I would have a feeling that they would give me a hard time because of how everything is right now. So, build a new village with boundaries and have brunch with people who know how to say I'm sorry without a side of guilt casserole. And if you're not sure how to break the news, keep it simple, early, and drama-proof. And before I keep going, I'm sorry that this episode came at the top of November and some of you already have bought your tickets. And we're like, damn, I should have listened to this before. Sorry. Too late maybe for some of you for Thanksgiving, but for Christmas, or even for next year, you'll know what to do. So anyways, if you're having a hard time, this is what you do. Say this. Hey, this year we're celebrating at home. Love you. Boom. That's it. No TED Talk required. If you feel generous, toss in an alternative. Hey, we could FaceTime around 3 if you want, or maybe get together in January or something. If they ask why, a lot of people like to lie and come up with some type of excuse, but I don't think you should lie. It's going to come and bite you in the ass. So be honest. Say we're prioritizing a peaceful holiday with the kids. That's it. No need to write a dissertation. Your home is a sanctuary, not a pop-in zone for surprise guests and emotional plot twists. And here's a life-saving acronym I saw floating around social media. JADE. Don't jade. What does it stand for? Don't justify. Don't argue. Don't defend. Don't explain. I have fallen into those traps more time than I've rewatched Elf. Learn from my mistakes. Learn to jade your way to peace. Sounds corny as shit. But I don't give a damn because I'm talking about peace. And peace is good. And here's the legacy I'm chasing. I want my kids to grow up in a home where their first instinct isn't, oh my gosh, I'm in trouble. Oh, my dad is going to fucking kill me. No, it's going to be, I wonder what my dad will do. I wonder what he's going to say. I need to call him. I want them to know that love doesn't come with conditions and peace isn't something you earn. It's something you protect. If that means fewer freeway miles and more holidays in pajamas at home, so fucking be it. So say it with me, out of placers. I choose peace. I choose presence. I choose my little family first. In some cultures, family is everything. But even in those cultures, mental health is still a thing. You can honor your heritage without sacrificing your sanity. You can love your family and still say, not this year. And if your culture says otherwise, remember, cultures evolve, especially when you start the revolution with this podcast. Next time on Out of Place. This time, it is going to be that Disney episode where I shit on it. I just needed to get this specific episode out there before the holidays. And for some of you that are listening to me for the first time, I used to be a huge Disney fan. Still sort of am. But somehow, in my heart, I feel like I'm done with them. We're unpacking the magic, money, and why my inner child is filing a strongly worded complaint with the House of Mouse. Subscribe, share, and leave a review, especially if you're a boomer or Gen Xer. The algorithm loves righteous indignation. Out of placers, remember, hug your kids, water your plants, and if anyone demands your presence this holiday, send them this episode with the heart emoji and a calendar decline. And remember, you don't have to go home. You don't have to explain yourself. You don't have to feel guilty. You are allowed to choose peace over performance. And if anyone tells you otherwise, like I said before, send them this episode. Stay out of place, listeners. I love you. I appreciate you. And always remember, to smile.